Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Sunday edition of Today in Sports Betting. It is the NFL, baby. What?
No, yeah, that's right.
Okay, Sunday?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's going to be published Saturday, but whatever you want to call it, I guess.
Going to be published Saturday. This is Friday. The games are all going to be on Sunday. So
hmm
everybody can take their pick as far as what day this is. But the games that we're talking about are actually going to be the Sunday NFL games. What's up, Scott?
Nothing much. Looking forward to it. You kind of confused me on the calendar based on how early we record these things. But
What
yeah,
happens if you don't show up for rehearsal?
I'm looking forward to some NFL games. Hopefully, the games that have been rumored to have COVID outbreaks don't get canceled. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I think that's
Uh,
why it's definitely imperative to let everybody know that we're recording this early. It's it's a day and a half before the games. Anything can happen.
I'm trying to think what happened. The Atlanta game had an outbreak, the Indianapolis game had an outbreak, and the Patriots had another positive test today.
Well, the last I heard, the Colts was a false
Then
outbreak.
the Colts was a false positive. The Falcons apparently was an outbreak. It turned out to be one guy. So I don't really know, but you've had three separate games potentially impacted by COVID, so we'll see what happens.
And yeah, it's I guess they just test everybody else 2 or 3 days in a row, and see what happens. So hopefully, all these games we talk about will be played. Scott, let's start off with one of those games that could be in trouble. We'll see. It is the Bears at the Panthers. Panthers minus 1.5, 44.5 is your total. Scott, Panthers are finally starting to put it together in the offensive system that the quarterback whisperer brought over from LSU. What's
Joe Brady?
Bill Brady? Thank you very much. It looks like it took them a couple of weeks to get going, but they finally got it turned around in the right direction. They found a capable replacement for Christian McCaffrey. Certainly not.
Well, he's
He's
been
not.
really good, so
Yeah, I've had him on my fantasy team. I've picked him up on my fantasy team, so he's been outstanding. Scott, do you like him here against the Bears? The Bears jumped up and surprised some people last time out.
well, they also had the extra time off because they played on Thursday night. So they do have an extra couple of days to get everyone healthy to prep for Carolina. Having said all that, I know money's coming on Chicago. I'm taking Carolina. Chicago's 3-1, or the 3-1 or 4-1. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
Bears are 4-1.
Or that's what I thought. They're 4-1.
Yeah.
I forgot we're in week 6. They are, I'd say, not that good of a football team.
Yeah,
I don't think that's controversial. I don't think they're
that's
very
what
good.
you think, but they looked very good the last time out, Scott. They
They look good defensively, I'd say, in the second half. I mean, they were getting killed for the first quarter and a half in the first half, and then they ended up having that one-handed Jimmy Graham catch. You also had the fumble by Vaughn inside of Buccaneers territory, inside like their own 25. So they gave up a free, say, 14 points in the final, 5 minutes of the half.
Right.
And I didn't think Chicago's offense looked good. I know Khalil Mack went nuts against Tampa Bay's offensive line, but I think Chicago is okay. I still don't think the offense is very good, and I like Carolina. I think Carolina's a good team. Matt Rule I thought it would take him a year or two to get everything in place, but it seems like they're already kind of rolling. And I like Teddy Bridgewater significantly more than Nick Foles, so I'll go with Carolina in this spot.
Carolina, they can't stop the rush is the problem, and I
Can
don't know.
Chicago actually run the ball?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a situation that you could exploit it if you had a running back, and losing Tank Cohen really hurt this team. Not just on special teams, but he was a nice change of pace back out of the backfield. David Montgomery is not a guy that's designed to run the ball 20 times a game. He's just not. And case in point, Bears ran the ball 14 times last week for 35 yards.
They can't run.
I just
It
don't
is what it is. So
I'm kind of with you. If you're putting your eggs in the Nick Foles basket, I don't like your chances. I just don't. I don't think that's a repeatable performance. I like these Panthers. I'm with you, Scott. 1.5 is a good number. I also I don't hate the under in that spot. I know playing unders in the NFL is you're just kind of taking the knife and putting it at your throat and riding around in a bumpy car, but you just some of those numbers just really stand out, and I'm not sure where the offense is going to come from these Bears. So I would look at that as well. Lions, Jags, Scott. Lions, a rare road favorite here, minus 3 points over the Jacksonville Jaguars, 54, and the hook is your total in this one. Yeah.
I think my question that I have for you is, how is Detroit only a 3-point favorite here?
Well, because they're not a very good football team, Scott.
Yeah, I'm aware they're not a very good team, right? But Jacksonville won the first game against the Colts by an upset. They've looked like one of the worst teams in the league since. And Detroit's entering this game off a bye, so they've had an extra week of preparation for this game. I don't think Jacksonville's any good. I think Doug Marrone's a terrible coach. I think that Patricia's also really bad for Detroit. But Jacksonville can't stop the pass at all. They have no pass rush to speak of at all. And Stafford, with a pretty underrated offensive line, with a pretty decent receiving core as well. I know Galladay's been very good since he came back. I think Stafford will throw for 300 plus. I think the Lions should win by about a touchdown because I think this Jacksonville team, after peaking in week 1, has been awful. So I'm going to go with Detroit.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of this Lions team. I think they've underperformed this year. I liked them going into the season. I really thought they might.
I did not, because I think Patricia's a terrible coach. But I think that if you look at the rosters on paper and the recent performances, Detroit might lose some games. They're usually winning in those games at some point. They've blown, 5 straight double-digit leads or something like that?
I'm usually head at some point playing the slot machines too, Scott. It doesn't mean I can walk out.
The point that I'm trying to say is that Jacksonville just has not really shown me anything over the span of the last, I'd say, 3-4 weeks, while Detroit looks good for maybe the first half or for the first 15 minutes and then falls apart. So even though I don't like either team, I do think Detroit should open up a lead against Jacksonville, and I simply just don't think Jacksonville has enough talent to come from behind, if that makes sense. So I'll link to Detroit minus the 3.
All right, I think that's a fair play. I don't love laying those.
Is there any part about Jacksonville's defense that you actually find tolerable? Because I think their defense is actually awful.
Yeah, it is not good at all, man.
The offense has a good receiving core, but I don't think DJ Chark's going to play, which is another issue because he's been questionable all week, and I don't think he's going to play because he hasn't practiced all week. So they might be without their number one receiver. The last time we saw them without Chark, they got shut down by Miami's defense.
Yeah, it was ugly. Miami's defense.
That was pre-Byron Jones return.
Right. That's what I was going to say. That was before Byron Jones came back.
Yeah, so for that reason, I think Chark won't play. I think this line will move up. I think the line should win by a touchdown.
Okay. Yeah, without Chark, that's definitely a play on for me with the Lions there. They're kind of a much better team, Chris, with Galladay back as well. Big fan of Hawkinson as well. I think he's an underrated tight end. You believe they had Hawkinson and Fant on the same college team? It's just amazing to me.
It was definitely a lot of fun. But Iowa, unfortunately, had to display some of their 2 tight end prowess against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's always fared well against Iowa, but it was definitely annoying trying to see these slow linebackers trying to cover Noah Fant and Hawkinson in the red zone, and you're just wondering, what are you supposed to do here?
Yeah.
But yeah. I think Hawkinson's underperformed so far in his pro career, but the tight end position is such a weak position right now in the NFL. Hawkinson definitely has upside. I don't think he's anywhere near as good as Noah Fant, but he's still pretty good.
All right, so let's take a look next at the Falcons and the Vikings. Vikings at home, 4-point favorite here, Scott. Big piece of news here, Dalvin Cook is out for the Vikings, and they're still 4-point favorite over this dreadful Falcons defense.
Dalvin Cook's injured. I'm shocked. He's never injured.
That almost never happens.
Crazy.
Almost never happens. So, Scott, any reason to lay the 4 with the Vikings at home?
I'm going to lay the 4 with Minnesota at home. From what I've seen before, running backs are simply not that valuable in the NFL right now. And Dalvin Cook might be a very good speed running back. I thought Madison looked really good last week also. Didn't he have like 100-plus yards against Seattle? Yeah,
he does show flashes at times.
He's good. So Dalvin Cook, of course, is the better running back, but if you're talking about drop-off, I don't think there really is any. I saw my Minnesota last year when Cook got injured, and Madison and even Boone, the third-string running back, still looked pretty good. So I don't think it really matters that Cook's not playing. Of course, he'd prefer it if he was, but I don't think that matters. And Atlanta, they finally got rid of the head coach. They finally moved on hypothetically, and then you had a COVID outbreak in the entire organization. So fun times for Atlanta over the past week or so. They're not very good. I think Matt Ryan's washed. Julio's probably going to play, which definitely should be a boost. But Minnesota hung with a very tough Seattle team. Probably should have won the game. I know Minnesota's record is terrible, but I think that this team is just significantly better than Atlanta right now, whose secondary is still extremely banged up. So for that reason, I'll lean to Minnesota. I think they should play well at home.
So did you say you said you thought Matt Ryan was washed up?
Yeah, I think Matt Ryan, even though his stats have looked really good earlier in the year, if you actually watch him play, he's just nowhere near the guy he used to be. It's just not there. You would see it last week against Carolina. You see 2 weeks ago against the Packers. I saw glimpses of it last year. You watch him play, and he just misses a lot of throws that seem very makeable for a quarterback of Matt Ryan's caliber. I think that he's definitely regressed, but he hasn't regressed to the same degree as some other veteran quarterbacks in the league that people haven't really noticed. I have noticed. I don't think Matt Ryan's that good anymore, and I'm not afraid to say that.
Would you rather have him or Kirk Cousins?
At this stage in their careers, truth is I might actually take Kirk Cousins.
Okay, well, you're drunk, so.
It's my personal opinion. I think that if Kirk Cousins had the weapons that Matt Ryan had, I think Kirk Cousins would put up better numbers right now at their stage in their careers. But that's just my personal opinion for what I've seen from Matt Ryan. I am really not a fan of Matt Ryan right now. And maybe he'll show something against Minnesota. Maybe he won't, but I wouldn't be surprised if he struggles.
All right, very good.
Have you noticed what I'm talking about with Matt Ryan? That involves you actually watching Atlanta, which is a tough task for anybody.
I try to watch every game every week at least.
Have you noticed that Matt Ryan has looked extremely, I'd say, the opposite of sharp, dull?
I think he's got receivers that are running bad routes right now. I think he really misses having Julio Jones in there. Of course, Ridley's dependable, but I think it seems to me like he's just not clicking with his receivers, and I'm not sure we can lay that all at his doorstep. So.
Could be. I've seen some of it last year, so I'm kind of just out on the Matt Ryan bandwagon. I'm not saying I'm on Kirk Cousins' bandwagon either, because I don't think Kirk Cousins is very good. But I do think Minnesota should be able to control the line of scrimmage. I think they'll run the ball, do what they need to do. They showed the blueprint on how to be successful last week. They just couldn't convert 4th and 1. But is Atlanta going to be able to stop the run? Probably not. So I'll lean to Minnesota.
All right.
Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah. I'd probably go.
I just want nothing to do with Atlanta.
Falcons they're a terrible team, ATS. And
yeah, I can't. Minnesota, even though they're not good, they have had moments where they've been competitive. Atlanta, I guess, if the games were 30 minutes, they have a pretty good record. But this team just can't produce after halftime. They are just awful in the second half of games.
All right, we need to move it on down the road here.
Mm.
We've only done 3 so far, so
cool.
Texans Titans. Titans 3.5. 53 is the total there.
How much do you buy into the short week?
What's that?
How much do you buy into the short week narrative for Tennessee?
I think it makes a difference. It's good that they're getting to play at home, that they don't have to travel for that game. I think that's important. I just really I don't think this Texans team. Everybody keeps saying they're the best winless team in football. I'm like, well, okay.
Well, they won a game last week, so they're no longer winless.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, they finally broke through and picked up their first win. They're still just. I think it's a dreadful team. I want very little to do with them. I'm not sure where the points are coming from here, Scott. I'm going to play another under here at 53.
Well, I know Houston won the first game last week. I had money on that game. They played Jacksonville. I've already roasted Jacksonville. I don't think Houston really looked that sharp. I just thought Jacksonville kept tripping over themselves. But Tennessee just smacked down Buffalo. It's a short week. I don't really care. I'm gonna take the 3. I'm gonna lay the 3.5 with Tennessee because they're really, really good.
Yeah. So if we allow, even the NFL right now, you're not getting 3 for home field, but even if you're getting 1.7, you're telling me that the Texans are less than 2 points worse than the Titans. I don't see it
Houston
right
beat
now.
Jacksonville. Congratulations. You're
Right.
playing an undefeated team. I'll take the
Speaking of the, I also tried bowl. It's the Washington football team against the New York Football Giants. Giants minus 343 is the number there, Scott. I'm digging the Giants here in this spot. I think this is an underrated defense. They do enough on offense. They've kind of been unlucky this year. There's a couple games that they played tight. They certainly could have gotten wins out of. I I think they do the job here, and I'll take the New York Football Giants minus the 3 points.
So we're going to disagree on this one. Makes sense because both teams are terrible. So you're kind of have to just hold your nose and pick something. I'm going to lean to Washington. I think Kyle Allen, even though he got injured in the first half of the game last week, I think he's a serviceable quarterback. I don't think he's good by any means, but I think you can make the argument that he's maybe equal to Daniel Jones at this point. I mean, Daniel Jones is a turnover machine.
Yeah.
Kyle Allen actually can somewhat take care of the ball. So I think that matters. Washington has a very good defensive line. Giants can't protect anybody. Daniel Jones gets sacked all the time. He fumbles the ball all the time. I think Washington should force some turnovers. And I still like some weapons that Washington has offensively. Both teams have terrible offensive lines, so I think that's kind of a wash. But you still have McLaurin in the receiving core. You still have Gibson, who I really like at the running back position. And
Another guy I have on my fantasy team that I wish would do something. Yeah.
And overall, I think Ron Rivera is a better coach than Joe Judge because I don't think Joe Judge is very good. So, and I think Jason Garrett's not a good offensive coordinator either. So for that reason, it's tough for me to back a team where the quarterback hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in 4 straight games. That's Daniel Jones. I'll take Washington.
All right, Browns Steelers, the old AFC North division there. Steelers at home, 3.5 point favorites, and 51 is the total. This is any going to be any helmet swinging in this one, Scott?
Hopefully nobody has a helmet in their possession with their hand, and you can see what happens. But I know this game's going to also come down to the status of Odell, who is dealing with an illness, not COVID, and he might not play. So if he does not play, this line, of course, will move. I'm taking Pittsburgh anyway. From what I saw from Cleveland last week against Indianapolis is the same story that I've always known. They're very good at running the ball. They have a great offensive line. The receiving core is pretty good. Baker Mayfield's not very good. It's what it is. Mayfield took a beating last week. He went to the hospital to check out his chest or his ribs, so I don't know if he's fully at 100%. Had a couple really awful interceptions. And Pittsburgh, I know Deontay Johnson's not going to play. Sure, that means more Chase Claypool, who's very good. Juju's been quiet, but he's still very talented. Pittsburgh's defense is still insane. And I think Big Ben's a better quarterback than Mayfield, so I'm going to go with Pittsburgh.
All right, I've got a premium play on this game, so I'll talk about the under, the total rather, and I'm going to play the over here. I think that I think that Pittsburgh has a decent defense, certainly have a good pass rush, but I think Cleveland's going to be chasing a little bit here in this one and forced to open it up a little bit, and for that reason, I'll go ahead and play the over 51 there.
For a prop on that game, I would maybe consider defensive touchdown at any time. There's probably somewhere in the plus 200s, give or take. I could see both defenses generating pressure, forcing some turnover, stuff like that. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, it's not terrible. That's certainly
Looking for a little splash of value for a prop or something. I think that's a decent option.
Yeah, you've got a quarterback that takes chances.
We have 2 quarterbacks that take chances.
Well, very true. And you got one ferocious pass, 2 pretty much ferocious pass rushes.
Yep.
So yeah, that's not terrible. A little scoop and score there, a little bad interception, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly could happen. Ravens at Eagles, 9.5 are the Ravens as a road favorite. 47 is your total there. Ravens look very, very good, except everybody not named Kansas City. And the Eagles, they are they're struggling. They're struggling, Scott. They still may be the best team in the East, but that is a low bar indeed. Who you got here?
For me, I know the line's moved a lot. I liked it earlier in the week. I actually teased it earlier in the week. I'm just going to fade the Eagles. I'm going to go Baltimore.
All right. Yeah, it really hasn't. It really hasn't mattered as far as Baltimore covering, whether they're at home or on the road. They are a they
I know
get
Philly hung tough with Pittsburgh. I'll give them props for that. They kept it close. But at the end of the day, Baltimore, their defense is still extremely good. People keep thinking of the blowout loss against Kansas City. They've smacked every other team they've played.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Philadelphia, even though they have shown signs of potentially being the best team in the NFC East, which means absolutely nothing,
Right.
Baltimore is just such a good all-around team that I don't think it matters. Philadelphia can't protect the quarterback. They don't have any weapons. Fulgham has actually emerged a pretty good receiver, but Zach Ertz has been injured. He doesn't look that sharp. Goddard's out for, I don't know, indefinitely. Alshon's still injured. Deshaun Jackson might play, but who knows? Rieger's still injured. The whole team's injured. Fletcher Cox might not play. Darius Slay might not play. They're just missing so many guys. So I'm just going to take Baltimore.
All right. I'll.
Like, is there anybody on the defense you like if Fletcher Cox and Darius Slay don't play? Probably not.
No, that's really it. You got. It's hard. It's hard to fade these Ravens right now. It really is. Bengals of Colts. Colts 7.5-point home favorite. 46.5 is the total there.
I actually wrote an article about this game for Winners and Whiners, but spoiler alert, I lean to the Colts. I think Cincinnati stinks. From what I saw last week, once again, they cannot protect Joe Burrow at all. Indianapolis doesn't have exactly a great pass rush, but their defense overall is still very good. And I don't think they played that well against Cleveland last week, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them come out a little bit motivated at home. They've won each of their first two home games by, I believe it's at least 17 points. They've been smacking teams at home, and Cincinnati can't protect anybody. And their defense is, I'd say, surprisingly mediocre, but still not very good. I don't like Phillip Rivers at all, but Cincinnati can't stop the run. So, and the Colts should rely heavily on Jonathan Taylor and company to move the chains, keep it third and manageable, and then let the defense tee off on Joe Burrow. So for me, I'll go with the Colts.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's that's a ton of points. I don't like laying that hook, but certainly is a teasable number if you got something you wanted to go that direction. Teasing the Colts down at 1.5 wouldn't be the worst thing in the world either. So yeah, you got a couple different options there. Go Pack Go, Scott, at the Buccaneers. Packers 1-point favorite here.
I know that Tampa had the extra couple of days off. Green Bay had a bye, and they're getting Devontae Adams back, and they are going to be getting their Pro Bowl defensive tackle Kenny Clark back, which is a big addition. Since Green Bay's been awful against the run all year long. Why is Green Bay only favored by 1 point? I don't get this line. I think Green Bay is a top 4 team in the league right now.
TB12, buddy. TB12
means nothing to me. Did they not watch him play on Thursday night? Because he didn't look very good.
I've got a premium play on this. I'm going to take the over 55.
Okay.
I'm not sure either one of these defenses can get the job done.
I think Tampa Bay's defense is underrated, but offensively speaking, like Brady.
They're very good. They're a very good rush defense. They're outstanding against the run.
I'm fine with that. That just means Rodgers is going to throw more, and he's got Devontae Adams back, and now he's got his defense, which should be improved with Clark back. Jair Alexander, very, very good corner. Might be the most underrated corner in the league. I know Godwin's supposed to be back, which is a nice plus for Tampa, but going to the year, my question with Tampa Bay in this offense was, can Brady throw the ball more than 20 yards down the field? I might have seen it twice this season. He never throws the ball downfield.
No, that was my complaint about him last year too.
So. He can't throw the ball downfield. So the issue I have is that I feel like Green Bay is just going to do whatever they want in terms of prolonging plays, finding Adams downfield. I know that they have a decent secondary in Tampa Bay, but I mean, Allen Robinson still had double-digit receptions on Thursday night. It wasn't for many yards.
Right.
He still had 10 catches. So I got to assume Adams is going to have a good game. Tanyan's still a very good tight end.
Yeah, Rodgers has to be licking his chops for that one.
Tampa Bay hasn't been great against tight ends. He gave a touchdown to Jimmy Graham. Aaron Jones still very good out of the backfield. I'm going Green Bay because I think that this team, off a bye especially, should be very well prepared. And I think this Green Bay team is very good. So that's my thoughts.
Rams at Niners. Niners -3 at home.
You mean +3 at home?
I'm sorry?
49ers are +3 at home.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
How do I double check that? Because it struck me as weird too.
49ers opened at -3 on the look ahead from like a couple weeks ago, but no, the Rams are 100% -3.
Oh, maybe I wrote down openers instead. Sorry. Yeah, I got. Well, you got 3. I got 1.5.
I see 3.
But that's at that horrible spot. So
I see 3 like market wide.
well, you should go to my bookie then.
It was 3.5, so 3.5, I guess, moved down to 3. But Sunday night game. You have any thoughts on this?
If you like the Rams, go to my bookie.
That's a good thought.
They've got it at 1.5 right now.
You're saving 1.5 right now, so you can get yourself a middle if you want it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the middle if you want to do it. Little arb there, right there. Scott, I like this Rams team, and they broke my heart a couple times. I guess I don't know. I think the Niners are doing it with me, or if they get Jimmy G back, I'm not sure. I guess that's an upgrade.
He played last week. He got benched. So
right, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, I guess allegedly it's an upgrade. He's the one that makes the money. But I just I like the Rams here. I'm sorry. I like this team. I like this defense. We've talked about them before. I like what the offense is doing. I'm on the Rams here.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a massive trap spot based on the line, but I can't take the 49ers. The issue I have with the 49ers is I'm not sure which area they actually excel in anymore. If you want to actually look at their overall team, you got Jimmy Garoppolo, who looked awful. The running games looked okay, but overall the offensive line has had an issue in terms of protecting the quarterback, and overall the offensive line has looked a lot worse than it did last year. The receiving core is pretty underwhelming. The secondary is okay, but Sherman's still injured. The linebacking core is good. And the defensive line, of course, Bosa's injured, and he's not playing. So I don't really know what area of the 49ers you can look at in comparison to the Rams besides the running back position and just say, oh, this team's better. Of course, the 49ers have a better tight end, but you break down these teams, Rams are just better, right?
Yeah, they are.
So I know it might be a trap spot, and the 49ers should be looking for a nice bounce-back performance after getting killed by Miami. They're 0-3 at home. They lost to Philly. They lost to Miami. They lost to Arizona at home. This team just isn't very good. They're above average in terms of talent, but they're playing like a 500 team, so I'll take the Rams.
Both the Super Bowl teams have looked less than stellar this year. They definitely look worse than they were last year. No question about it.
Kansas City still looks fine. That doesn't really matter.
Defense has some major problems.
It was a major problem last year too, and then they fixed it in the second half of the year.
Yeah, they did, but we thought it was fixed.
We'll see.
All right, so what else we got here?
What's up?
All right. So
I saw that we skipped the Jets-Dolphins game, possibly intentionally, but I'm not sure.
I had that. I had that at the bottom of my sheet.
We didn't mention that game, and we didn't mention the New England game.
Right. Those were both I did it by rotation number.
Yeah, I'm just saying we didn't go through those.
Okay. Because I still had those left.
Okay.
Dolphins to Jets. Dolphins 9.5-point favorite. You're gonna lay the wood 9.5 points against Joe Flacco, Scott?
Truth is, I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets cover in the spot. The Jets seem to always play Miami close, but I got to take Miami. Nothing about this Jets team is appealing. They're bad in every position. Their coach is terrible. Jamison Crowder looks good. That's basically it. Like, I don't know what else you want me to tell you. I know Miami just smacked San Francisco, so maybe they might have a letdown spot here, but I don't care. This Jets team is the worst team in the league by a lot.
I'll make a hero play. I'm not ready to lay 9 in the hook with Miami just yet. We're not quite there yet in our relationship.
In Fitzpatrick, we trust.
Okay. All right. So you and I are going against each other there. All right. Now I hold my hand. The last one. Broncos Patriots -9. Drew Lock's back for the Broncos. Scott, do you care?
No, I'm laying it with because you know also is back. Cam Newton. I'm gonna take the Patriots here. Really no brainer. Denver, even though New England has been awful in Denver in recent years, Denver has been even worse in Foxborough in recent years. They are awful in New England. And Drew Lock, first game back after a shoulder injury, facing off against a Belichick-led defense that had a bye last week. Sure. Yeah, that's not going to go well. Denver's missing a bunch of weapons, of course, because of the fact that Sutton's out for the year. Melvin Gordon might not play now because he has an illness. Nothing to do with the DUI because that suspension will come in the future. But defensively, Von Miller, of course, out for the year. They missed a couple pieces in the secondary. Denver beat the Jets. Congratulations. Your team is still not good at all. And New England has hung tough against the Seahawks. And with Brian Hoyer and Jared Stidham, their defense shut down Patrick Mahomes for about 2.5 quarters. So I think Lock's going to look terribly. I think the Patriots will win handily. I think this is going to be a blowout. So for me, I'll go with the Patriots.
Yeah, with Locke coming back, with Gordon questionable, Noah Fant's also questionable. I don't see much to like about this Denver team. Plus, they're traveling east. It's just hard to get behind them. I'll tell you, I'd probably be more interested in playing some kind of Patriots team total over there.
That's fine. I just think New England's defense is just going to absolutely make mincemeat of Denver's offense.
Patriots team total over somewhere in the neighborhood of 27, 26.5, 27.5. I would go.
Do you think Newton will be rusty not having played in like 2 weeks?
No, I think he'll be fine. He hadn't played in a year and a half and he looked great.
I'm just asking.
No effect whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree.
There you go. That's a show, buddy.
Yeah.
As always, ladies and gentlemen, for deep dives into every one of these NFL games, make sure you check out winnersandwhiners.com. The most comprehensive looks at every sporting event going on in America every single day, anywhere that you're going to find. That's Winners and Whiners. It is an unbelievable, amazing site with fantastic handicappers and writers such as this gentleman right here, Scott Reichel, very good handicapper and a very good writer as well, and some other great guys as well. So make sure you check out winnersandwhiners.com, won't you? And that's going to do it for myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Whiners. We appreciate you watching. I hope all of your plays turn into cash money back there at the window. Guys, have a great day. Good luck on your Saturday plays as well as your NFL games as well. If you happen to watch this video early, hope you win a bunch. All right, we'll see you next time on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.